There's this specific moment that keeps happening. You're sitting there, staring at everything you need to do, and instead of starting, you just freeze. Or you bounce between tasks without finishing any of them. Or you suddenly find yourself reorganizing your desk for the third time this week. It's not laziness. It's not procrastination in the way people think. What's actually happening is your system has hit capacity, and instead of admitting that, you're just spinning your wheels hoping momentum will appear. If that sounds familiar, what I'm about to tell you will completely reframe how you see this whole situation. See, most people think overwhelm is about having too much on their plate. But I've watched people handle massive workloads with ease, and I've seen others completely fall apart over a handful of simple tasks. The difference isn't the amount of work, it's the state they're operating from. When you're anchored in yourself, when your nervous system isn't screaming danger signals, you can navigate complexity without collapsing. But when you've lost that anchor, when your system is in constant alert mode, even checking your email feels like defusing a bomb. And the worst part? You probably can't even remember the last time you felt genuinely calm. Not the fake calm where you're holding it together through sheer force of will. Not the exhausted calm that comes after you've pushed yourself into numbness. I'm talking about real, deep, cellular calm where your body isn't preparing for disaster. Where you can actually be present in a moment without part of your mind already racing to the next thing. That kind of calm feels like a myth at this point. What happens is this. The feeling of being behind doesn't start when you actually fall behind. It starts in your perception, in the way you're relating to your day before it even begins. You're measuring yourself against an impossible standard of what you think you should be able to handle, and when reality doesn't match that fantasy, you interpret it as personal failure. But the standard itself was broken from the start. Nobody can sustain that pace. Not really. Not without consequences that eventually demand to be paid. So you double down. You tell yourself you just need more discipline, more willpower, better focus. You cut out everything that feels like rest or play because those seem like luxuries you can't afford right now. You operate in this constant state of emergency, except emergencies are meant to be temporary. When emergency becomes your baseline, your body doesn't know how to function anymore. It's like redlining your car's engine constantly and wondering why it keeps overheating. Let me tell you what's actually happening inside your body when nothing feels manageable. Your stress response system operates on a binary. It's either on or it's off. There's no dimmer switch, no middle ground. And when it flips on, it reorganizes your entire physiology around one singular priority: handle the threat immediately. The problem is, modern life doesn't give you threats you can fight or flee from. You can't punch your inbox. You can't run away from your mortgage. So all that activation energy has nowhere to go, and it just circulates through your system, creating more and more tension with no release valve. Blood flow redirects away from your prefrontal cortex, the part that handles planning and decision-making, and floods into your limbs for fight or flight. Your digestion shuts down because who needs to process lunch when you're supposedly running for your life? Your immune system deprioritizes long-term health. Even your vision literally narrows, a phenomenon called tunnel vision, because focusing on peripheral details is a luxury when you're in danger. This is why everything feels impossible when you're overwhelmed. Your brain has temporarily disabled the exact capabilities you need to solve complex problems. Now imagine trying to plan your week, respond thoughtfully to emails, make important decisions, and be creative, all while your system thinks you're in mortal danger. It's like trying to write poetry while someone's holding your head underwater. Your brain isn't designed to do both simultaneously, so you end up in this awful loop where the stress about your workload makes you less capable of handling your workload, which creates more stress, which makes you even less capable. It's a downward spiral that doesn't stop until something forces you to stop. And here's what nobody tells you. The problem isn't that you have too much to do. The problem is you're trying to do it all from a dysregulated nervous system. A regulated nervous system can handle complexity, ambiguity, setbacks, and long to-do lists without short-circuiting. A dysregulated one can barely handle deciding what to eat for breakfast. Same person, same brain. Completely different operating system. So when you feel like you're failing at life because you can't seem to get basic things done that used to be easy, you're not actually failing. You're trying to run advanced software on hardware that's stuck in emergency mode. The solution isn't to try harder or be more disciplined. The solution is to get your system back online. And that starts with understanding that your body isn't broken or weak. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do when it perceives threat. You just need to teach it that you're safe, even when your calendar is full. Alright, so how do you actually reset a nervous system that's been running hot for so long? It doesn't remember what cool feels like. You start with the body, not the mind. This is critical. You cannot think your way out of a physiological state. You have to shift the physiology first, and then the thinking clears up on its own. So before you look at your to-do list, before you make any plans, before you do anything else, You need 60 seconds of what I call a biological reset. Put your hand on your chest. Feel it rise and fall. Now breathe in slowly for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 6. The exhale being longer than the inhale is what signals your vagus nerve to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. Do this 5 times. Just 5 breaths. That's it. Your brain will scream that this is a waste of precious time. Ignore it. That's the dysregulation talking. What you're doing in these 30 seconds is sending a clear biological signal. We are not actually dying right now. Your shoulders will drop slightly. Your jaw will unclench. Your thoughts will slow down just a fraction. It's not magic, it's physiology. And in that tiny window of calm, you can actually access the parts of your brain that solve problems instead of just reacting to them. This is the difference between operating from your thinking brain versus your survival brain. One makes plans, the other just tries not to die. Once you've downshifted your system, even slightly, now you externalize. Get everything out of your head and onto something external. Paper, computer, voice memo, I don't care. But your brain cannot hold 50 tasks. Remember 12 deadlines, track 9 people's needs, and still think clearly. It's not designed for that. When everything's internal, it feels infinite and chaotic. When it's external, it becomes finite and visible. You can see the edges. And edges are manageable. Don't organize it yet. Don't prioritize. Just dump. Every single thing taking up mental real estate. The big stuff, the small stuff, the ridiculous stuff, the stuff you feel guilty for even having on your mind. All of it, out. What you'll discover is that the monster living in your head, the one making you feel like you're drowning, it's actually smaller than it seemed when it was just swirling around creating anxiety storms. Written down, it's just a list. Lists can be dealt with, anxiety storms cannot. Now comes the critical filter. You're going to identify exactly 3 things, not 5, not 10, 3. 3 things that if you accomplish them today, would genuinely move something important forward. Not urgent, important. This distinction matters because urgency is usually just noise disguised as priority. Someone else's timeline imposed on you. What actually matters is what aligns with where you want your life to go. Find those 3 things. Everything else gets to wait. It'll still be there tomorrow, and tomorrow you'll be in a better state to handle it. You want to know why this keeps happening? Why you cycle through periods of functioning followed by collapse, over and over? It's because you're ignoring the early warning signals your body sends before it forces a shutdown. Your body whispers before it screams. But you've been trained to override the whispers, to push through fatigue, to skip meals when you're busy, to treat sleep like it's optional, to ignore the tension headaches and the tight shoulders and the digestive issues. You're operating like you're a machine that just needs better maintenance schedules. But you're not a machine. You're a biological organism with non-negotiable needs. And when those needs go unmet for long enough, your system will force the issue. It'll get sick. It'll shut down. It'll create circumstances that require you to stop. This isn't punishment, it's protection. Your body is trying to keep you alive despite your best efforts to treat it like an inconvenient obstacle to productivity. So instead of waiting for the forced collapse, what if you chose the pause? What if you actually listened to the whispers? When your body says it's hungry, eat. Revolutionary concept, I know. When it says it's tired, rest. When it needs to move because you've been sitting for 6 hours, move. These aren't luxuries you'll get to when things calm down. Things will never calm down if you keep operating from depletion. You know what happens when you're well-fed, well-rested, and have moved your body. You work better. You think clearer. You make better decisions. You don't waste 3 hours spiraling about a task that takes 20 minutes when you're resourced. Efficiency isn't about squeezing more hours out of the day. It's about showing up to those hours with a system that's actually online. A rested brain processes information faster, makes fewer mistakes, remembers things better, and handles stress more effectively than an exhausted one. So that hour you think you don't have time for, the one where you'd sleep or eat a real meal or take a walk, that hour isn't stolen from productivity. It's the foundation that makes the other hours actually productive instead of just performative. And let's talk about the story you're telling yourself while you're running on empty, the one that says your value is determined by how much you can endure, how little you need, how far past your limits you can push before breaking. That story is a lie sold to you by systems that profit from your depletion. Your worth exists independent of your output. You're valuable because you exist, not because you produce. The moment you internalize that, the moment you stop trying to earn your right to take up space through suffering, everything changes. You stop volunteering for unnecessary pain. You stop treating your own needs like they're selfish indulgences. You stop measuring yourself against impossible standards that nobody could maintain. And you start operating from a radically different question. Not how much can I endure, but how well can I sustain. Because sustainability isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the recognition that you're running a marathon, not a sprint, and burning yourself out in the first mile serves nobody. So where does this leave you? Right here, right now, with a choice. You can keep doing what you've been doing, hoping that somehow if you just try harder or find the right system, the overwhelm will magically disappear. Or you can accept that the path forward isn't about doing more, it's about being different. Not different as in transformed into some impossible ideal version of yourself. Different as in operating from a regulated nervous system instead of a dysregulated one. What would it look like if, starting today, you chose one practice that reconnects you to your body? Maybe it's those 5 breaths before you check your phone in the morning. Maybe it's eating lunch away from your desk. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk where you're not listening to anything, just being present with your own thoughts. Maybe it's going to bed when you're actually tired instead of when you finished everything, which will never happen. Pick one. Just one. Not because it'll fix everything immediately, but because it teaches your system that you're paying attention now, that the whispers will be heard. And notice what happens when you make decisions from regulation instead of panic. Notice how much clearer things become when you're not trying to think through a fog of stress hormones. Notice how solutions appear that were invisible when you were in survival mode. Notice how much less time you waste spinning in anxiety about doing the thing versus just doing the thing. This isn't about perfection. Some days you'll regulate beautifully. Some days you'll barely keep your head above water. That's called being human. The difference is now, you know what's actually happening. You know that overwhelm isn't a character flaw or a time management failure. It's a nervous system state. And nervous system states can be shifted. Not instantly, not permanently, but consistently. With practice, you can learn to notice when you're sliding into dysregulation and have tools to guide yourself back before you completely short-circuit. This is the skill that changes everything. Not productivity hacks. Nervous system regulation. If you're ready to operate from a different place, if this gave you even a moment of clarity about what's really going on, drop the words "I'm grounded" in the comments below. Let me see how many of us are choosing regulation over hustle today. You've got this. Not because you can handle everything thrown at you without breaking, but because you're finally giving yourself permission to be a living, breathing organism with needs that matter. That's not weakness. That's the beginning of real, sustainable strength. The kind that doesn't collapse the moment life gets complicated. The kind that bends instead of breaks. The kind that knows rest isn't the opposite of productivity, it's the foundation of it. Take a breath, you're still here, you're still trying, and that's more than enough for today.